Welcome back to Hey Brother, a podcast dedicated to all things Freemasonry right here in the jurisdiction of Kansas. This is an independent production, so the thoughts and opinions expressed here are those of our own and do not represent those of any lodge, Grand Lodge, or associated group or body. Now here are your hosts, brothers Darren Kellerman and Alex Powers.
Now it just gets up and walks off. So kind of give you a taste of medicine. But it has been a great day. Festival board last night was awesome. Had a great time there. It has been a great day. Grandmaster of Kansas popped in, gave some this morning, and then he quickly became just Dave Hendricks, joined everybody on the level. So it's been a great day.
Absolutely. What Kellerman doesn't realize is that when he is virtually Con does live streams totally goes that was on mute. So
that's better. So it's like I was running the show.
So obviously, we had 30 seconds there for our normal live videos, but Hey Brother is we got the whole crew with us here, and what are you guys thinking of this so far? You guys So I was thinking that one of the presentations I was
We certainly do. Ian has joined us, and we've been kind of standoffish, but we've got a good mix. You're broken today, and you're everything.
There we go.
He's hiding back over there.
He's been out into the world. But it brought to mind when I saw the presentation today was talking about especially and it got me thinking that if you don't mind, how did you find out about this?
Well, I'm here on Defense magazine. Research on Masonic track work. You know,
What is?
Long story.
So I am by trade, as you, but I put a lot of work into this channels. The fact that you will practice Google, Google tells me that is probably it's got me wondering if some of those children just say, what are you guys doing about this? Do you guys really know who you are? You don't have to That about sums it up.
That's not a discussion we had.
Well, I recommend one bylaw actively does not be a competitor. Look at it. The only thing why this is why feel like we will here's $500. We really want and we didn't have
That's awesome to say. For clarification, you're talking about the classes that are on the lodge, but actually does not seek promotion. Why would that?
Well, I think the reason why that is to protect the space lodge curious.
Guys,
Guys like you did. What we're talking about on stays.
Yeah.
You know, we are, I don't use the term stays the same way that you do. But, you know, in this space, we are, guys mostly just being open and friendly with each other in a way that isn't, you know, what you can see. This is, it's much more lack together than
I think that's a fair assessment because there are different styles of lodges, where there's some lodges that strive to be community involved, some lodges, if it's traditional church or whatnot, that do need that privacy. We go there. It is a safe space. It's just us men, as it were. We'll say doing man stuff, but
Yeah, we're not watching football.
could be looking at Brother Hackenauer where you have shout out for your book, discussing his book. We're Kansas authors, hold it up there, you brought it. But what I'm seeing here in Kansas is, lodges are trying to get involved in the community, and they are. But what happens is, the Kansas Masonic Foundation puts out a press release on their saying, hey, the lodge in your local area just did this, donated money to the local school or whatnot. But unfortunately, the local lodge may not share that or put it in their newspaper. So the place getting publicity is the Kansas Masonic Foundation. And that's not what the foundation wants to do. They're wanting to get the local lodge to share that out in the local newspaper. And we don't talk about the foundation on the show a lot because they do their own stuff. They don't want to detract. But it's all designed to promote the local lodges, to help communicate the good things the local lodges are doing as they would want to. But again, there's some lodges that do people that just want to give money anonymously, and I might suggest, and you and I discussed this off the show, that may be more of what Masonry is designed for, just a quiet, anonymous contribution. And so it just depends. Some people say that lack of communication is what's driving membership down. I disagree with that, but it's a conversation.
Well, you guys are protected as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have this, most of us here would agree that there is two different things going on. There's what Masonry does and what Masonry is. And what Masonry is, and it's three organization. We don't need to be public to do it. And in fact, we'd rather not be public than we have. And we want to build these personal relationships with our brothers and find out what we can do to help each other. And then we also belong to, most of us belong to more than one lodge. So we get our Masonic experience if we want to belong to a lodge that leans more towards the community, then we can also do that. And it has to do with the culture of the lodge. Every lodge has its own culture. There's at least two of us here that belong to a TO lodge that has no interest in being out in public. We have our Masonic Ed, we have our traditional service ceremonies and things like that. We do that draw us closer together as a unit. And we're getting to the point of Masonry with that kind of model. We want Masons who want that education experience in Masonry.
But it's funny you say that. I mean, look at some. If you look at people that were talking about the decline of organized churches, the general curve is down. When we look at our joining, they're joining things like Catholicism, full-blown, intentional, ritualistic practices. It's not show up, sing, have some fellowship, and go home. It's a deeper spiritual connection, a human connection. And people are just rebel, whatever is going too far along the way, but and when we do that, we get back to the software for that. Yeah, I need to go. You know, being on the phone, or whatever.
Does anybody ever say that? So they don't I'm here to take the balance of something. One time a year, Masonic Con, to be honest.
I do. To that point, do you think maybe, because let's be well, but do you think that some of that is a, and I'm going to use the term control, or even they're looking for more structure and solidity in what's going on, so they're looking for those more, like you said, younger folks doing the Catholicism thing and Masonry, but doing that structure and that guidance.
Structure is everything. In today, like, so as the world's become more connected, what do we have? Our attention is now gone in 1,000 different directions. Young people's brains are now developing it's absolutely fascinating. You know, we say our kids don't have attention spans. It's actually, it's not that they don't have attention spans. It's that they have developed the fastest way to either pay attention to what they value as relevant in an instant. What you're talking about is relevant, so I'm not paying attention. And just in that, it had to develop this, sadly, because of the world and how chaotic and expansive and all of the things you can do. People do create, they're creative, you know, structure. Yeah.
One of the things that we're discussion with younger members as well is they're looking for a way of that's not just a difference in their lives. Finding a way to set themselves apart and be able to pause with them those instruction and have those moments of true interaction.
So let me challenge this, because when we kind of establish that there's various types, flavors of masonry, various types of products. I mean, throughout the world, throughout here in Kansas, right? It's factored in, really not that nature. You 100% think that over a lot because the way more involved in the community, you got a lot of that are focused on control and really scratch the within. However, when we talk about these different experiences and we look at the fact of, you know, not so much that harsh like looking for membership, but making that available to those that are seeking that. Like, I get as Masons, this is our experience, so we may not be putting it out there, but for those like-minded men that haven't been yet, how do they find it? Or like if they want to get involved, what get involved. Like your lodge that doesn't actively promote or reach out to the public. Like obviously there's going to be a lot that we don't show, that we do keep to ourselves. But how do they know who you are if that is something that is for them?
Honestly, you will know how part of their exposure to this and what we can offer. It's not all for profit. We're involved in that parts. The awareness of part of that. Personally, it's two different fronts, and I think both of them together, we're starting to see some traction. We're getting more men from looking into
It's going to be ask a question. Answer us a few questions.
Oh, sure.
But it's a question.
There's a lot to that of the awareness campaign, which is controversial in some areas. But like we'll say where we're setting today in Rosedale Lodge, Marion, it's the home to several different lodges. The lodge is the formal building itself, and then there's the individual groups that people. But getting somebody in the door, you heard at the start of the show that we were actually live for. We said that many of us are members of different lodges, but the first lodge you join, that's just kind of getting the door. That's for me, and then I find out about RJ's lodge. And I came here and this makes it work for you. You might like this, because that's what's happening to a lot of things. We have what we call our home lodge, or mother lodge. As we have a big connection, we have your first degree lodge, or your degrees, or your brothers after you did it. But then I find out I want something where I can put a student's time and you're also that strict foundation. And well, during that lodge is over here. And we're working on that with that awareness campaign. Know some of these fans, likes or dislikes, we can help guide them to a lodge that may feel more like home for them. And that's what helps that connection become even tighter. We have 5 affinity lodges, 4 affinity lodges in Kansas, which are kind of like that. We have a police officer lodge, we have a lodge for leadership, we have several great lodges for affinity specific. We have 2, 3 traditional observance lodges in Kansas, I think. There's something for every man in Kansas. It's just a matter of learning what that is.
Barry, you mentioned this lodge is the meeting. So every the question someone asks is how do you know how to join? The reason is that they have different cultures and different needs to supply the membership. Right? So at one point, the lodge was 3 lodges and people saying, no, they're wondering what is going on. These guys don't really like each other. Is there some sort of a financial issue going on? And there may be some of that. There may be some of that, but mostly as everybody finds a group of men like-minded that they get along, that they can actually have conversations with them. Don't go against their morals or whatever family dynamic they have, and they stick with that. And so I used to have real questions about lodges that met the same building didn't combine, and now I absolutely get it. There are different Masonic journeys for every man in our country.
It really works out great, especially. I mean, because we've got Ian as our guest here today, looking at Masonic structures and stuff, but in a traditional Masonic setting, that lodge building is used twice a month, 10 months a year. So they built this Masonic lodge building in most every town in Kansas at one time. And it got used for regular meetings 20 times a year. Then maybe they did some extra special meetings for the free work. So having multiple lodges in there, that just, to me, makes a lot of financial sense.
And that would go into what he's here trying to investigate.
Yeah.
Why do we have all these lodges? And then some lodges are ornate, some of them are simple, right? It just depends on what the brothers in that lodge feel, where their values are, right? What they think they need in order to have a proper place.
in the several years that we've been coming to Rosedale, we've seen some changes come to this lodge because of the integration of other lodges here. Because they didn't all have all these decorations that you can't see on the broadcast, but they've had some things on the walls here that came with the other lodges that merged in. And it's a wonderful experience, no matter what type of lodge you belong to.
As you guys are two talking about this idea of lodge cultures, and some lodges are small, some lodges are big. I immediately, for whatever reason, thought about this story about Masons who travel west, during the expansion. And I guess the Grand Lodge of Colorado, they had cardboard square months that we used, open lodge, like in the middle of the mountain. Just what was needed. They had, and they used it.
That goes along with the lodge as a building, right? Lodge is a group of men together.
Well, that's the other thing about this, that we consider to discuss the differences by versus very hard sort of approach.
Oh, yeah. Very true.
It's very true. Finding the blind lodge, that's, it's incredibly, that's the way it's be. Find the lodge was natural. But,
I know which one's Slither.
yeah. But the thing about this, the foundation, that's is all the same. And we're all approaching one place. So why did you choose to go with one lodge or another lodge is a lot of times very personal to where, what part of your actually work, your life, what moves you, how you do that.
For me, it was what night
And for some, it could be, how much are the dues?
Yes.
We kind of dance around that sometimes. Are the dues structured more than I can afford? Am I not getting value because the dues are too cheap? I'm not getting out of it.
Yeah.
So it's all in the dynamic of balancing the lodge, the group event, the building, the meeting nights, how it works with your own personal schedule.
Honestly, they wanted to show something.
When I first joined Masonry 15 years ago, I thought it was Masonic bylaw that lodges had to meet on Thursday nights. Because every lodge I used to look at, it was Thursday nights. And I'm going, God, they have the copyright on it.
Well, but I think there's stored, but I'm not, as we all know, watched any of the shows I've been on, not history.
Wait a minute.
What-
You've been on it.
Once or twice.
Thanks. Welcome to government and not
Exactly. But a lot of the lodges in Kansas are Monday or Thursday, it seems like, because there's church on Wednesdays for sure, and there's a lot of small town sports on Fridays, and there's other events that most places have some independent bodies meeting, say on the Tuesdays as well. So, but there are a lot of lodges in Kansas that are Monday or Thursday, usually twice a month. That's my experience as well.
So, I mean, there's been some interesting things throughout the work of this country, but a lot of stuff we've done too. One aspect I heard is we're not a lot. And that kind of brings me back. We look at basically historic. You go back to some of this guy, right? We look at masonry back in those days and we know, okay, they had above taverns, but did they have the big neon sign? Did they leave their stuff up? No, they drew their stuff on the door, they quite left, right? So that's interesting in its own, that the building's not involved and there's not that permanent, if you will, facade to the public of, hey, here we are. And then, I mean, of course, we work through time to even kind of silly times where we'll have a newspaper that's a section for secret societies. That here we are, here's our meeting time, and so forth. But it kind of makes me think in that same facet of, all right, if this is potentially something fitting for somebody, and not saying that everyone makes it better, they should, but if it is, you think back in the day that it happened, right? We wiped the system, we didn't have the sign. How do they bridge that?
I think it was brought up today earlier that if we're excellence, right? That
excellence. So it's, what is it about this guy that makes him, and how does he conduct himself so that I want to conduct myself in that manner, so that I may have a discussion with that guy and he say, oh, well, I belong to this particular group or not. And in some countries, they actually, you don't ask, they wait around and then you get invited to dinner some night and they'll go, well, yeah, these are the guys. You know what I mean? And so it's how we set the example for our communities, our families, and then they ask us, what is it that you do? How did you become who you are? Right? And then that's how we grow our again.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, so when we dive deeper from that, right, we get into the base, we talk about various types of bodies across Kansas. One of those that we can say for certain is interest in education. And we're bettering ourselves as we talk about through this knowledge, through that education, through applying education. That's certainly what this is here, a full day of education and discussion. And that's why I love stuff like this, where we just see presentations. But I love the opportunity we get to have those questions. I love the opportunity to sit around with guys like this. Now, that's to me the most active part of the discussion. You get to obtain the knowledge, but really sort through it in a good way.
This isn't just Kansas Masons that are here at Masonic Con Kansas. We've got guys from all around the states here. We've had Jeremy Barnes join us virtually today, another Masonic World Traveler. It's just so many events like this, Masonic Con, whether cons in Kansas or elsewhere, brothers from everywhere, we all have the same base element to start from. And just that exposure, the conversation off camera, outside in the hallways and stuff, is what makes us awesome.
Yeah, 100%. I'm curious, with so many different cases here, and different walks of path of masonry, I'm assuming education is important and really put themselves through an entire day of presentations. But I'm curious why education is important. There's some curious. Why is education impact you?
I think it's the foundation.
Sure.
Masonry is preparing you for something like that. And it really truly is. I mean, me and Tony are part of the traditional and service lodge, and I spoke about this together. The type of masonry is preparing you for life, and ultimately, yeah. And it's that knowledge, and it's not just knowledge, it's passing on knowledge, but we put mileage in it. We apply it, we test it, we spread it out. I don't want to say we water it down because we don't, but we spread it out, look at it under a microscope, and what works, what doesn't, and we apply it. And that's how we turn knowledge into wisdom. Not knowledge without application. And I think that's firm thing of what masonry does is it gives us that knowledge and it challenges us. Yeah. Okay, here, let me give you this knowledge. Go have fun. Work first. And we come back and discuss those things. And sometimes it works. Sometimes we do great. Sometimes we step our up. Yeah. And it's a fact of life, but it's part of those lessons. And it's important and it has to happen. If you're a kid and you don't touch the hospital, you don't learn and you don't grow. I mean, it's just true.
Anyone else has education impacted your Masonic careers?
For me, it's been more, I get education from my brothers. Sharing their life journeys, their stories, their problems they're having. I'll share the problems I'm having. More than likely, we're going to cross paths and have the same problem sometime. So that's the education for me. Just for being around the fellowship, that brotherhood experience. That's education.
So I had a shocking moment at my home lunch. I haven't been able to attend my home lunch much over these past 12 months. And I come from a more rural lodge. It sure seems like, oftentimes, just my perception is it's get in and get out, and get home, watch the game, and do whatever. And people know me, I like to talk a little bit, share my experience. I want to come to some I know, but I want to get my money's worth out of my lodge. I'm paying X dues, so I want to get X dollars out of that. And maybe I try to force some of my home lodge members, that's not fair to them. So I sought out and I belonged to several lodges. When I returned home a couple weeks ago, I'm sitting there, as the meeting's winding down, they go, Darren, before we close, do you have Masonic education? And I damn near had a heart attack right there, because I never thought I'd hear them ask for Masonic education. And 2 hours later, we closed lodge. Shortly later. But so some lodges, there's a desire in small doses. But I was very pleased from my little corner of the world to hear that. Because it's not for everybody. Some lodges just despise that. I know you've had some issues yourself with that. And do a show on that if you want to. But that's why really getting that fit. But Masonic education, it is a lesson, whatever it is. Today we've heard, we've been here and we're broadcasting this 6-7 hours of Masonic education. Some like ain't no way going to that. But there's people like me, I don't want that. We have some people online that they want to travel next week, join us here in person at Masonic Con. And because you get to meet people like RJ and Greg, you get to meet some of these authors like Jason and Dwayne, RJ, Alex, who else is Masonic authors? Greg, you wrote a book yet? Not yet. Are you gonna? You get to meet Grand Lodge officers. Dave Hendricks is here, the Grandmaster-elect Mark is here. But you never know that unless you get somebody like me saying, oh, hey, that's the blank. Because they didn't come here to be Grand Lodge officers. They came here to get educated, to share themselves, and to accept what others have to learn. There's a ton of that going on.
Well, and I think that kind of reaches into various areas. I mean, we talk about this in different types of lodges. You get that same aspect. It's like this. You're just into the education, or at least that's something so bad. Works with the same asset, but I think it's always easy to do stuff in person. I constantly call this Masonic. Masonic Conference. RJ, you have held amazing Masonic Conference in Chicago. The first one I got experience with was Quincy Lodge, Massachusetts, and being able to travel and see guys in person and catch up is kind of like Grand Lodge in a way, but on a different level, because especially in today's world, a lot of my masonry tends to be digital. Right? There's so many guys in this room, it's so far beyond that I'm constantly talking to on a digital basis that don't live in this state, don't even sometimes live in this country. But they travel into a place like this to get that education, but you also get that fellowship. You get to merge your mesh thoughts, which kind of takes it to another. So
you've seen that on your show, Stored Light, and even today we had a person join us from Jersey. We had another one join from Alaska, and several places. And even on the show, we've had them join from around the world. Stored Light had a regular follower from Texas. So I'm drawing the blank on his name right now, but he was a Patreon subscriber. Thanks for that. It's just amazing that the fellowship we have, whether it's virtual or in person, is just amazing. All from this bond we have. And he's getting tired of getting drug in, but even Ian today has become a part of our experience here. I mean, he has. And we've drug him to do our stuff. We've forced ourselves upon him, and we hope he writes, fairly about us. If he doesn't, he doesn't. That's his experience of us and how we put ourselves on today. We didn't know until, 3-4 hours that, he's not a Mason, because this fence opened everything. Because for a secret society, we sure share a whole heck of a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, We are worship seekers. We're going, hey, look at this, hey, look at this, hey, look at this. Maybe it's a fit for him. Maybe he'll petition us. Maybe he'll join the Knights of Columbus. Maybe he'll join the Elks or the Eagles, whatever fits him. Or maybe nothing at all because maybe that doesn't fit him. Because that's part of it too. Because Freemasonry, not for everybody. Not for everybody.
Well, you know, I think to the prophetic world who's not Masonry, there's that perception, right, that everything's a giant secret. There's stuff in Masonry that is kept here through back seasons, but the vast majority of everything is not, I would say, not like 100% Masonic, right? Like we do simply see the universal truths in a lot of ways. And it's really, as we talked about, the manner to prove yourself. And that part of it's not a secret. That part of the journey is not a secret. It's why we do interact in society. There's basically a very quiet about their stuff. There's huge t-shirts and hats. What?
T-shirt. Sure, it's nice. Sure, you're here. You got it. But so here's an interesting tidbit that I don't know how you know because he didn't tell anybody. So we had a person who was supposed to come in last night, the festive board, driving in quite a distance to get here. And he calls and he says, Darren, I'm going to be running a little late. And the reason why is because he had to stop. Well, he didn't have to, but there's somebody broke down on the interstate and they stopped to help. It took a lot longer than he thought. So he's going to run a little bit late. He'll still be here for the end of the festival. He calls a little bit later saying, I'm not going to make it at all. And it turns out because there was an accident that did not go so well. And he stopped to help with that. But he didn't tell anybody that today. He told me, he got an update and the lady got to the hospital. She's okay. But he still drove over for that. He didn't have to. He was planning, he was looking for this. It's on his calendar forever. But because of who he is, not saying it's because he's a Freemason or whatnot, but he stopped for that for his own needs. And then today he stayed for a few hours and then left. But that's yes. And I would suggest they probably have to hear about it. But he didn't come in like a lot of people, all those people. He told the story all day long about how good he did this and all that he did that. The only reason he told me is because he wasn't going to make it festival. And he didn't ask for a refund, didn't ask for nothing. Because he did say what was right. And
well, we've got about 9 minutes left here. In Hey Brother, we talk a lot about Kansas. Today we've got guys from Kansas, from Long Kansas. We like to invoke some kind of education, some kind of thoughtful comment or topic to go around the show. But then we also like to talk about what's going on across Kansas. But today we've got a special opportunity to see a little bit beyond Kansas as well. So without just focusing on Kansas, we've got so many individual representatives here. What do you guys have going on in your lives that people should know about? Anybody?
Yeah, one of the lodges that I belong to, we belong to the board, Green Alley.
well, tell them the fourth one. You can't even hang.
Lodge 2000, Ireland, which I have been a member for about 5 years, 6 years, and only got a chance to visit. But and which was an amazing experience. So definitely worthwhile. And that's what that lodge was to go back over to Ireland to visit, get myself some skills. So, but we got a couple of breaks coming up, so we got a couple members that are coming in, and we just had to rework between 2 different lodges. I think we got 3 different research next 2 to 3 weeks. So it's been worthwhile. We got a scholarship to hand out in Solar Lodge.
I'm not sure if Jake is coming up with this. So, there's a position where we have filled out an application for matching scholarship, so she's going to get $1,000 towards her college education. So we have a reward in scholarship specific to that. And I don't know, it's a pretty small town.
Very small town of 16,000.
I grew up in a town of about 8,000. Yeah, but
450.
we work with our local high school to set up scholarships. And they have the students will apply. I mean, it's only $1,000. I know that doesn't go as far as it used to, but it's still something worthwhile.
Anyone else have anything going on? Illinois is just trucking along, man. Our newest grandmaster, Joe Carroll, is running around the state and just staying in Portland, keeping busy. Things look good. And we do have something coming up August 15th, I think it is. We have something that's called August 15th, so Masonic membership disability. So all the guys in the state, basically, the grandmas to say, you can go out, wear your Masonic stuff everywhere you go to. Take a picture, put it on Facebook, whatever. And it's just like, hey, let the public know we're still out here. We're still doing stuff. You might be distracted by all the things in the world today. Remember, we're still doing stuff out here. Affecting the communities, building things. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's going to be there's something you kind of told me a variation that you.
Oh, yeah, we got it in hard copies, and we can still do that.
Yes. We don't get.
We do that. Yeah, if I went to the doctor's office, I went to anywhere where I had an appointment, and they had an entry room. Let's say a surgery center usually has a waiting room for people that are waiting for surgeries. Great place to drop one of those magazines. It does, like you said, it's an awareness thing, awareness campaign. There are some who believe that one of our biggest problems is that people over time has forgotten that we actually are a presence in town. And I agree with that, maybe 95%, right? That's not our purpose, is to make sure everybody knows about us. Our purpose is spelled out in the way we conduct ourselves. But I believe that wearing the Masonic ring or the Masonic hat, the license plate on your car, all those things remind people that we're still relevant, we're still around. When I am involved with a first degree or a third degree Mason being raised, it's one of the things I always tell them. You can no longer conduct yourself the same way that you normally would in public. You're not going to cut people off in traffic. You're not going to yell at a waitress, right? You're not going to give somebody the finger because you don't agree with them, because you represent our fraternity. And I think if you're going to wear a Masonic shirt with the emblem on it, you are aware that you're representing not just yourself, but millions of men who revere this fraternity. So I really like that idea of having what you call it,
Masonic
visibility. That's a great idea. I might want to kind of whisper that in here. Yeah.
But that's interesting, because we floated that 3-4 years ago, and then the world changed a little bit, of having open houses across the state of Kansas and just invite the public in, type of thing. I do like that idea. When that's the grand line here. Joe,
How many approximate messages?
we have no idea. Just tell me. That's all.
I was gonna do something about that. That's over.
Leadership field, on the calendar.
I think you just did.
But registration's open for my Kansas brothers that are. Registration's open, that you register for all this, you're gonna get free polo. And, so, and the color of the polo might give away what my title. So.
Well, it's also not time you should also attend Leadership Guild. You're gonna be getting books from at least these two authors,
Two
right?
offers that are today.
But for somebody watching,
Leadership Guild, it's been called many things for years, work school, leadership academy. The Leadership Guild is where it's at now, but it's a school for leadership. For our workers and anybody that's thinking about getting, who wants to maybe look into being leadership in your life. The days filled with different topics. Brother Jason's going to present them on his book, which is actually written for his son, to prepare his son to go through the charity, eventually, hopefully get to the east. We're going to have some take their presentation on leadership. We're going to have a breakout session with the boards and the secretaries of the law. We've got some brothers coming in. They're going to do some things on Masonic charges. How we do some things that during the investigation committee to keep us from having to go to Masonic charges later on, and doing some things there. So it's all geared around workers and the leadership team of the lodges to try to educate them and make them better.
And don't be, for those people thinking about this, well, I may not be a leader. Each one of us has a little bit of leader in it. Even if it's just talking to one person.
Where's it going to be? It's going to be held in Pearson, Kansas. The Friday night before, we're going to have the lodge. The event's down at the community center. They start at 9 o'clock in the morning. So,
Registration's now open.
you registered before?
Not registered. I'm registered. Why aren't you registered?
those entities, they don't like it.
So we asked the deputy grand master if he's registered. He's not. So
I'm registered. Yes,
I'm registered.
Yes.
So there we go. Two of us.
All right, well, we are at that time. Before we wrap up, we got anything else to get to? It's coming up. No. So August 8th, we'll be launch 17 goes to Kansas Street.
Okay.
Kansas. The KU Med urgent care on Southwest Walnut Road into Topeka from 9 to 2. That's important. Give you a shout out as well. For Kentucky. On October 24th, 5 o'clock, 208, will be hosting this annual arena degree. So it's a degree that takes place in Horses Creek here in South Kentucky. First Saturday following the implementation.
Fantastic. Well, gentlemen, this has been a show. It's been fun. It's been a day.
I don't see the whole thing. Such a shock for our show. I was in jail, so that's pleasant. I was in jail. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I think it's time to wrap this up. It's been a really cool experience with this.
And show the leadership guild and bring a break or something. Because they're going to also be going out to the Oak Tree after that, so we've got plenty of time to recognize them.
There you go. Yeah.
We certainly do.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. If you're interested in something like this, look into a Masonic Con. If it's not here in Kansas, we have them all across the United States, beyond. We got
Masonic Con Kansas, Chicago, once in a while, East Coast, we got Massachusetts, Road, South Pasadena, Masonic Con, goes with Southern California, you got some guys coming up, Esoteric Washington, Texas, does one every year. Gee whiz. And
North Carolina.
I think, yeah, North Carolina, Missouri is probably gonna get one going soon. Another Masonic Con, range out behind that, shout out to. You're having.
Yeah. All right, well, guys, I want to thank you all for joining us. This little experience that we had, it's been a great opportunity. And we still have more education to get back to, which is
Good. So we're gonna say goodbye to you guys. We'll learn a little bit more. Gentlemen, till next week, and
Until next week.
see you, brothers.